It's bracket season. College basketball, March, can't beat it. Look, I love the NCAA tournament. We all love the NCAA tournament. But what people don't understand is we love the NCAA tournament because it's so freaking stupid. It is the dumbest postseason in sports, and that's why it's awesome. I know I talk about this with baseball, but the NCAA tournament rarely ever crowns the best team. You could play 35 games of wonderful basketball. You have a bad 5-minute stretch in the second half of one game. Season kaput. Like, I love Michigan basketball. Not this year. Oh my God. But Michigan's had 2 runs in the national championship in my life. Both of those were predicated on 2 miracle 3-pointers. Not going to take it away. Amazing memories. Proud of them. Happy about it. But like, there's a randomness to the NCAA tournament that I love, which is why I think, as somebody who hasn't watched a ton of college basketball this year, I'm a perfect person to fill out a bracket, because your odds of nailing your bracket are every bit as high if you flip a coin with every selection as you do if you watch hundreds of hours of college basketball every week. It's luck, it's randomness. Again, that's why we love it. So we're going to fill out a bracket here today. As you can see here, we are on NCAA.com. I'm still working out the kinks with this, but there's that little man there at the bottom of the screen. That's me, and we're going to fill out brackets here. Going to go relatively quickly with some of these, and like I said, dude, my knowledge of these is ridiculous. So it's just I'm basically pulling names out of a hat. What will be funny is the reasons why I pick certain teams, because it's nonsense, it's silliness, so here we go. All right, the East region, UConn obviously over Stenson Bennett. That guy is he still playing? No. Bad joke. This is actually one of the more intriguing matchups of the tournament, about 2 teams I actually know something about. FAU Northwestern. FAU, potentially future Michigan basketball coach, Dusty May. Northwestern is a team I actually like. I like their guard play. I like Boo Buie. I like their coach. FAU had that miracle run last year. I think they're overseeded from what I've heard, so we're going to go Northwestern. San Diego State versus UAB, that 5-12 is always dangerous. But San Diego State, national championship game last year, back at it as a 5 seed. I'm going to go with them. Auburn, Yale. Watch a little bit of Auburn in the SEC championship game. They looked like world beaters. Bruce Pearl does a great job. BYU and Duquesne. Just when you say you Duquesne, you can't. I'm going to go with the Mormons. Illinois versus Morehead State. Morehead State is where you want to apply to if you want to get more blowjobs. Morehead. Brad Underwood sucks in March, but I like Illinois here. They look great. Terrence Shannon is on a fucking roll, dude. Jesus. Washington State versus Drake. Ooh. I like Washington State, but Drake makes good music. Let's go with Drake in the upset. Iowa State, South Dakota State. What's this guy's name? TJ Olsenberger? Olsenhober? Yeah, over the shoulder Olsenhober. I'm going with Iowa State. We'll come back to that. Okay. I'm gonna fill out the first round in all these. I know some people do one bracket at a time. I ain't about that life, all right? Because you know what? These games, they haven't been played yet, and these games haven't either. So North Carolina takes down Honus Wagner or whatever the team is in. Mississippi State versus Michigan State. Look, if there's anybody in the world who's like, dude, Michigan State can make a run, seen it before. Unless Izzo truly just has purposefully done this to not care about the regular season, there is no way that this team should make it past the first round. Give me Mississippi State, the fighting Brandon Walkers. St. Mary's versus Grand Canyon. Grand Canyon was in the tournament a few years ago, I think in the COVID year. Not that that's relevant. St. Mary's, they've had a good season. Beat Gonzaga a few times. Alabama versus Charleston. The matchup of Alabama. I'm going to go Bama. Alabama, man! Clemson versus New Mexico. I actually thought Richard Pitino wasn't that bad at Minnesota, and I feel like that was kind of a quick hook that they had when they fired him. Clemson's not a basketball school. Give me New Mexico in the 6-11 upset. Baylor versus the Toothpaste. Baylor's been pretty consistent in the tournament the last couple of years. Going to go Baylor. Dayton, Nevada. It seems like they were not high on the Mountain West. I think that's where Nevada plays. Give me Dayton. Arizona versus Long Beach State. Arizona got upset last year as a 2 seed. I've picked Arizona to win the tournament the last 2 years. Shout out David Blattman. Am I going to continue to do that this year? We're going to find out. Definitely taking them first round. Let's move right along south. Houston versus Long Penis. I'm going to go with Houston as the 1 versus 16. Nebraska versus Texas A&M. What's this guy's name? Kelsey Tominaga, the most electric player in college basketball. Give me Nebraska. Fred Hoiberg's done a good job. Wisconsin versus James Madison. Here's what's interesting about Wisconsin is that every year since 2014, 2015, they make the tournament with a terrible team that somehow is a 4 or 5 seed, and they typically get upset early in the tournament. Like I said, those 2 teams with Bo Ryan were the exception. Wisconsin lost to Michigan this year. Like, this team had a stretch where they were playing their way out of the tournament. This is classic elevated seed because he got hot in the conference tournament. James Madison's had a great year, one of only 4 teams in NCAA basketball with 30 wins. Shout out PFT. This is the Pardon My Take Bowl. I guarantee you this was intentional. This is the easiest 12-5 I've ever picked. Give me James Madison. Duke, Vermont. Certainly Duke is Duke. They're on TV more than Leave It to Beaver reruns. I love Vermont, but it's the season of the sticks, so I'm going to go with Duke. Texas Tech versus NC State. Whenever you have a team like an NC State that wouldn't have made the tournament and then gets hot in their conference tournament and steals an at-large bid, I'm always inclined to think that they're going to get bounced early. Give me the Red Raiders. Kentucky versus Oakland. If Kentucky loses this, it would be hilarious. Shout out Greg Campy. They lost as a 15 seed. It would be very funny, and I'm rooting for Oakland, but I got to go. I'm going to go to Kentucky here. Campy has won an NCAA tournament game, but I think it was as a play-in, so that doesn't count. Florida versus either Colorado or Boise State. Isn't it Colorado? No, it is Colorado. I watched Florida in their conference tournament. They looked pretty impressive. Great rebounding team. I feel like that's going to help them. Marquette versus Western Kentucky. Shaka Smart sucks in March, but give me Marquette. Though Marquette got a good draw. Purdue versus anybody. I mean, look, you can't overlook it. Purdue against any team, that is between a 12 seed and a 20 seed, you got to at least be like, whoa, hold up. What? Wait a second. Sit back, relax. What's going on? Hey, now. But I'm going Purdue in this one. And they're not getting bounced by a 16 seed 2 years in a row. It'd be hilarious, but no. Utah State versus TCU. Jamie Dixon, underrated coach. Give me TCU. Gonzaga versus McNeese State. Will Wade, shout out to him. I'm so tired of Gonzaga. Gonzaga! The slipper still fits! Not this year. So done with them. I'm glad they're a 5 seed this year. Get a 1 seed every year playing fucking Northwestern Missouri State, and you act like you're a real program. Shut up. Speaking of real programs, Kansas versus Samford. Kansas came into the year as the number 1 ranked team in the country. Hunter Dickinson had a great year, but Kansas did not. I mean, by their standards, they were a 6 seed in their own conference tournament. Dickinson, I believe, will be ready. And he missed the conference tournament with that separated shoulder. Interesting matchup, but I'm gonna go Kansas here, at least for this round. South Carolina versus Oregon. And we're going to Oregon and South Carolina and Washington and Michigan. And then we're going to Washington, D.C. and take the White House. Bah! Lamont Paris has done a great job. Give me South Carolina. Creighton versus Akron. Akron got lucky as shit to win their conference tournament because that one guy forgot what the score was. That's not a joke. Give me Creighton. Texas versus Virginia or Colorado State. Here's the thing about Virginia. Virginia's won a national championship, and it was one of the worst things that ever happened to college basketball. They lose every year. They're Purdue with one of the luckiest runs ever. Like, it took 3 miracle shots just for them to win that national championship. Other than that, Tony Bennett's resume is Texas. Tennessee versus St. Peter's. Tennessee, Rick Barnes usually stinks in March, but I don't see that turning it being an upset. Okay, back to the East bracket. Round of 32, UConn versus Northwestern. Man, this is going to be a good matchup. If you're looking for a prime example of why college basketball is going backwards, UConn has been the number 1 team off and on pretty much all year. Could I name one of their players? No. I can name their coach. Do I think they beat Northwestern and the fighting Boo Buoys? I do. Give me UConn. San Diego State versus Auburn. 2 teams I like in March, 2 teams that have had recent success in March. Auburn in the Final Four in 2019, San Diego State in the national championship last year. Give me the Bruce Pearls. His Bruce Pearls defenses really clamp down tight. They're like a pearl necklace. They just scrap onto you. Illinois versus BYU. Brad Underwood has never made it to the second weekend. It's a good draw for Illinois this year. I'm going Illinois. Illinois can make it. Look, if Terrence Shannon plays like he did and they shoot the way they did in the Big Ten tournament, there's a lot of teams that are going to lose to Illinois. Illinois, both of them. Drake versus Iowa State. Give me Iowa State. That'll be a really good 2-3 matchup, but we're going to come back to that. North Carolina versus Mississippi State. I'm not crazy about Hubert Davis. I'm just going to be real. All 4 of these teams, I'm not crazy. I feel like this is a weak bracket. I'm not crazy about North Carolina. I'm not crazy about Mississippi State. Like, I know I was shit-talking Michigan State, but god damn it. If they beat Mississippi State, I can actually see the door opening for them to make some sort of run. I'm going to have to sit here with a team that's lost 14 games playing in the Final Four.
Now, that's better.
It's the motherfucking Eagle Double G.
Give me North Carolina just because of the experience, but this will be a close game. St. Mary's versus Alabama. I feel like Bama's year was last year. Mary's, look, it's weird because St. Mary's and Gonzaga play in the same conference, and yet I'm like, hey, St. Mary's, where's Gonzaga? I'm like, I'm Mark Few's a good coach, but in this particular instance, the needs of the many outweigh the needs of Mark Few. Give me St. Mary's. What? Mark Few isn't even coaching in this game. New Mexico versus Baylor. Are we going with, you know what? Yeah, I'm going New Mexico. A little sleeper Cinderella. Little shimmy, little shake. Arizona versus Dayton. Tommy Lloyd made it to the second weekend a few years ago. Arizona's got a really good program going. Give me. Am I going to pick them again to win the Natty? I don't know, man. We'll see. Give me a second. I did not make up my mind before I started filling out these brackets, and I'm not one of these weirdos who does the, I fill out 7 brackets. This is my upset bracket. This is where the one. No, that's like marrying 7 different women at once and being like, one of these has to work. Fill out one bracket, okay? Judeo-Christian bracket values, all right? It's so weird how people who obsess over brackets are no different than like Star Wars nerds. And I got love for both of them, but can't have your cake and eat it too. Houston, Nebraska. God, I'd love to see Nebraska make a run here. Nebraska can score the basketball, and they're one of those teams that if you get them in an NCAA tournament game and they just get red hot, they're kind of impossible to stop. Houston's got experience. Give me Nebraska. Sure. This will be fun. James Madison versus Duke. Give me the Dukes. I'm not crazy. You got the Dukes versus Duke. Certainly Duke is Duke. They're on TV more than Leave It to Beaver reruns. I'm gonna go with the Dukes though. Give me an 8-12 in the Sweet 16. Fuck it, why not? Texas Tech versus Kentucky. I think it's a pretty good draw for Kentucky. Give me the Tucks. Florida versus Marquette. Shaka Smart has not made it to the second weekend since he went to the Final Four with VCU back in 2011. I was a freshman in college. People forget that. I remember. Pepperidge Farm remembers. Give me Marquette though. Purdue versus TCU. Golly, this just feels like prime. Give me the Horny Frogs. So I can't watch Zach Edey's Gumby looking ass making it to the Final Four. Give me TCU. McNeese versus Kansas State. McNeese nuts! Ow! Hickory dickory dock. Shout out Will Wade. Give me McNeese State. They beat Michigan, which, if you beat Michigan this year, you're good. Creighton versus South Carolina. Oh. I know Creighton made the Elite Eight last year, but I rarely ever trust them in the tournament. I feel like they're always a good regular season team. Give me the Cox.
What?
The Cox versus the Creightons. Texas versus Tennessee. You have Dalton Xbox Connect, who's one of the few players in this tournament that I can name, versus Texas. What's that guy's name? Rodney Terry. That guy's a pussy. He threw a temper tantrum when somebody did horns down. Rick Barnes sucks in March, but give me Tennessee. All right, we're getting to the Sweet 16 now. This is the toughest bracket. I could see any one of these teams going to the Final Four. It's so easy to pick a repeat champion, especially when that repeat champion is the number 1 overall seed. Give me Auburn in an upset here. Illinois versus Iowa State. I think this is where Illinois' run ends. This will be a great game, though. This would be a great game. I hope we get to that point with these two teams as I'm circling like the shark from Jaws. Pussy hands. North Carolina versus St. Mary's. St. Mary's, sure. Why not? New Mexico versus Arizona. I bet this is a close game. I like Arizona. I like Tommy Lloyd here. I feel like they learn from the mistakes of the last few marches, and they march on in March. Nebraska versus James Madison. I think this is where the Duke's run ends. Nebraska in the Elite Eight. You know what? Good for them. Good for Fred Hoiberg. Good for the Big Ten. I feel like they'd be a fun team to watch. Kentucky versus Marquette, 2 coaches that have flamed out in March very often recently. Something's got to give here. Oh, God. I don't want to pick either one of these guys to make it to the Final Four. Give me Shaka, bro. TCU versus McNeese State. TCU. I can't have another 12 seed March on. South Carolina versus Tennessee. Give me shit. Tennessee got their shit pumped in. You know what? Them getting their shit pumped in the conference tournament, that's going to create the illusion that they're not very good. Close game here against South Carolina, but give me Tennessee. Guys, don't listen to these, by the way. Like, this is just fun. Auburn versus Iowa State. Close game. I like both these coaches. These have become surprisingly consistent programs. Give me Iowa State to go to the Final Four. Did they go to the Final Four with Jamal Tinsley? I don't think they ever did. They came close. They had that one year in, I think, 2000 where they played Michigan State. And then didn't they have that coach that was crazy? Like, they had built up a really good program. And then they had that coach that I think, like, didn't he fuck a co-ed or something? Excuse my language. I got to find this. Yeah, that's right. What's his name? Larry Eustache. On April 28th, 2003, the Des Moines Register carried pictures of Eustache kissing several young women and holding a beer at a party near the University of Missouri's campus just hours after the Tigers defeated his Cyclones on Tuesday, January 21st. What a G. His team loses and he celebrates on the campus of the team that they fired him for that? This is karma for that. Give me Iowa State. St. Mary's in Arizona. I think Tommy Lloyd punches his first ticket. It feels like it's been a long time since Arizona's been to the Final Four. Am I going to end up picking Arizona again? I might. Nebraska versus Marquette. Dude, Shaka Smart ain't going back to the Final Four. Surprise of all surprises. Nebraska shocking the world. Nebraska to the Final Four. Shout out Will Compton. Shout out Matt Rule. Shout out Jamal Lord, quarterback for Nebraska in 2003. Shout out Rex Burkhead, Amir Abdullah, Jordan Westerkamp. This program is built off of your back. Who are the basketball players? Teddy Allen, Herbie Husker. That guy's terrifying. Great mascot. Let's go to the Elite Eight. TCU, we have the Horny Frogs versus the Horny Vols. Rick Barnes has not been to the Final Four, I don't believe, since Texas in 2003 when they had TJ Ford. TJ, that was the long shorts era. It really is. Somebody needs to do a breakdown of the shorts eras in basketball, because it was short shorts for the longest time, and then the Fab Five brought in the baggy shorts, and then we got to a point where shorts were like people would trip on their shorts because they were touching the floor, and now we're kind of back in that in between where it's like it's above the knee. Because I grew up in the baggy shorts era, and it wasn't until 2 years ago I went to that Tigers Colorado Rockies game where Miggy got his 3,000th hit. And everyone was shit talking to me on Twitter. Keep this in, by the way. I know we're talking about the brackets. Keep this in. Everyone was shit talking to me on Twitter because I was wearing like baggy Adam Sandler shorts. And then finally, I had to end up buying some people bought me some shorts that were above my knee. And it's freeing. It's a freeing feeling. You gotta free the knees. Hashtag free the knees. Tennessee goes to the Final Four. So we have no 1 seeds. I fucks with that. We have Iowa State, Arizona, Tennessee, and Nebraska. Give me Arizona and Tennessee in the Natty. Give me Arizona punching their championship ticket and celebrating. In the final year of the Pac-12, this is the 3rd year in a row I'm picking Arizona to win the championship. This year is where it finally happens. Final score prediction, 73 to 65. Finish bracket. Yay! Hope you all enjoyed that. We'll see what Austin can do with this video, and make sure to hit that like button, hit that subscribe button if you're watching on Rumble and YouTube. Chris and company will be back with 2 interviews this week. This was fun. This is fun. Good times all around. Good, clean family fun for the whole family. Look, Chris Castellani is G-rated. Okay, a lot of people don't know that, but this is a family picture. I will not have violence done on this house. So have a good March, everybody, and peace and happiness.
I'm just a devil with no despair.